and welcome to Breakaway. I am Liz Ferguson, your host. It's been a while since I have done that introduction. I have been just really busy working on some other projects. And in fact, my very first podcast back, I was looking forward to having a guest speaker, which will be on in the next one. So be sure to come back so that you can hear from a really good friend of mine, Prophet Crystal Troutman, who is going to join us and talk about Breakaway and her Breakaway experience. But for right now, I wanted to share with you a little bit about some of the projects that I have been undertaking in the last few months. So the last time that I said that introduction was probably in March when my friend Stacy Rivera was on and we had a great conversation about Breakaway. In the meantime, between then and now, I started editing a book that I actually began to write in March of 2024. And so I spent the last few months editing it and had the opportunity to send it to the publishers. And I am sitting here today with a proof copy of that book, and I am so excited because it is ready for ordering. You can order a book for yourself if you are looking forward to hearing about not just my story or testimony, but also the insights that I have been able to learn through the last year and a half in my time of Breakaway. As some of you may know, I started this journey in January of 2024 after much prayer. The word that God gave me was very simple. Breakaway was that word. And so I moved forward with doing just that. And I've been documenting that journey through this podcast. Well, now a big part of that journey is available through the book that you can go to Amazon and purchase, and that is Breakaway, a story of personal struggle, surrender, submission, and transformation. And it is by me, Liz Ferguson. So if you look it up, make sure that you use Liz Ferguson as the name of the author. But I am just excited to share with you the insights that are in this book. So in an effort to do some of that, not only am I going to read you a portion of it tonight, but this Thursday, if you're watching this live or before Thursday, July 10th, we're going to get together on Zoom and we're going to talk a lot more in depth about the book, about the process, and we'll also have an opportunity for you to ask questions. So I look forward for you to being on that. But let me go ahead and read you a portion of the book tonight. So this is from my introduction to the book. Introduction, my story. How many times have you wished you could skip to the end? While I know there are people who can patiently sit through a movie or reading a book and wait until the end arrives to find out what happens, I have never been that person. In fact, I remember reading countless novels growing up and skipping to read the last chapter just so I could know how the story ended and if the book was even worth continuing. If the ending did not pan out as I expected, I would many times abandon the book. If I determined the end of the book was worth the agonizing details, then I would resume back at the chapter where I was when impatience took over, and I would continue through the proper progression of the story. Then, with the invention of Google, yes, I'm that old, I was able to do the same thing with movies and shows. I could Google the synopsis and then continue with the details. I had zero patience for waiting to see how the story progressed or ended. Unfortunately, this impatience did not apply just to novels and entertainment. This impatience ruled my personal life, making it seemingly impossible to wait to find out how things would play out in my life. So great was my impatience that I developed a pattern of imposing my will and just making things reach their end, no matter how the ending affected me. I wanted the waiting to be over So I took what I thought was control, but all the while, I was simply self sabotaging to escape a scenario and move on to something else. However, if that did not work, I learned to withdraw emotionally so that while present in body, I did not care how things ended because of the disconnection of my emotions. Once again, I was self sabotaging simply because I was too impatient to wait for life to take its course. The reality is, I was too impatient to wait on God. Somewhere along the road, I believed that I could make things happen. Like Sarai in Genesis 16, when she took matters into her own hands and decided that she would assist God to keep his promise by giving Abram her maidservant Hagar with whom to have a child, I continuously decided I would be the author of my destiny. The only problem with this resolution is that I failed to realize that I was not in charge of a single event. My sinful nature, which remained under the dominion of sins, influenced my choices and decisions. Worse than that, I had unresolved traumas on which I put a band-aid to just get over things and move forward. The reality is that I was not controlling a thing. Rather, I was living a lie, controlled by my desires, selfishness, traumatic responses, triggers, and countless coping mechanisms, all the while reaping destruction and pain in my life. It is no surprise, unfortunately, that my struggle still wages war on my mind. Even when I decide in my mind to wait on God, I must continuously remind myself that I cannot force anything to happen. After all, I am simply responsible for me, and I must remain in my lane. Anything outside of me is out of my sphere of control, and I risk creating toxicity through manipulation and control. In fact, as I write these words, I cannot tell you how what I am facing resulted, for the resolution is still to come. I can detail all that for which I hope and have faith will happen, but I cannot tell you that my process is over. However, this story will not be about the ending of this process because only God knows if this situation will resolve by the time that I write my final entry. All I can promise you is that this book will tell you about me and my past, about the process I am living itself, and about what I am learning along the way, in hopes that my story will help you in your process too. My goal is to tell you about where I have been and where I am. Where I end up is up to God and how he works this all out for my good according to his purpose, Romans 8:28. I guess that ensures if I author another book to detail about the ending of the process, you'll return to read it. Nonetheless, welcome to my story. Welcome to my process. Welcome to what has been my struggle. Most of all, welcome to my story about Breakaway. I look forward to hearing from you as you hopefully grab a copy and read the rest for yourself. If you do have a copy, let me know. Snap a picture, post, tag me. Let me know that you have it. Talk to you guys soon. And again, if it's before July 10th, be sure to get the details about the Zoom meeting for the official book launch event that we're going to have online. I will see you then.